time. We still got August.
It's supposed to be warmer tomorrow.
That's a big thing, because we're here. Yeah, and in Canada, we can fly.
That's exactly.
Where you guys are.
It's excellent for longer.
That's what I mean.
It's
Which time of year for that? I thought maybe you're just being tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. Well, no way. Thank you. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I know. Everybody remembers it. I met Bill Ward.
Ron Campbell.
Is he still firefighting? Yeah.
Still keeping it up?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
What, this thing about Outrage, is that a show or is it
Well, the first stuff was back up.
Good with our team and say, I'm like, well, let me know about the money.
Yeah, you should call.
My wife had like over 800 something contacts. They just kind of upgraded our system and wiped all their stuff out, but they were able to activate it. She got it all back.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think
When was this happening?
last week. She went in Monday. On Monday when she had her DSM like 507, all her stuff is set up there.
But does she keep it on her computer or she puts it on?
This is on the hard drive. It should be on the server or whatever. But anyway, I was going to call you. So they have to talk to her.
I'm going to go ahead and call the regular council meeting for July 28, 2025 to order. Everyone please rise for a pledge of allegiance led by Councilperson Friedmeier.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Go ahead and take roll call for our meeting. Councilperson Bradley?
Here.
Councilperson Kempfer?
Here.
Councilperson Ginever?
Here.
Councilperson Friedmeier?
Here.
Councilperson Fisher?
Here.
Councilperson Bailey?
Here.
Councilperson Winkleman?
Here.
Councilperson Massa? Absent. All right. I'll entertain a motion to amend our agenda. We need to add Iguana's Mexican Grill, LLC, and the Marquee on Main under new business for approval of their liquor license. We printed out the agenda beforehand, so.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda for the council meeting for July 28, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, has the agenda been posted, dated, and signed? Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for June 23rd, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Public comment from last meeting, no one has signed up. Moving on to check register and bills. Only thing I have on that is, sales tax has caught back up where it needs to be at. The, online purchases, we are 45,000 over from previous, years, so, yeah.
You did.
Make a motion to approve check register bills, financial report, and sales tax return.
Second that?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Committee reports, they are in your packet. Mr. Turner wrote out quite a few things on there. I appreciate that. I like the detail. You have anything to add on that, or anybody have any questions for Mr. Turner? All right. Chief Bova had plenty of calls. Fire department did really well this month.
They had 17 over the weekend.
Yeah, they had plenty of calls. There's quite a bit. Mr. Sullivan's report is in there.
He did, sent me an email, we've got a, zoning appeals board meeting next Tuesday, 6:30.
Yep, August 5th. All right, and then Chief Helms, which is, he's gone. Captain Pruno. Cap, you don't have anything? His report is detailed, Mr. Bradley, the arrest records in there. I like that. Is everybody else good with how they post that? I know, is that working pretty well on,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually get, like with the road patrol and everybody else does, and Chris Lee just gets it over to us and then we review it, but yeah, it's working fine.
The biggest one I seen was, your first one at the top, fugitive arrest. Is that just by chance pulling people over and they have warrants?
Most of the time, yeah, most of the time, or they'll know them, the officers get familiar with everybody around here, so.
Yeah,
It's either one, I mean, it's all the time.
I was shocked to hear that.
Not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot, Captain. The dispatch going pretty well. I've heard,
It's going great,
okay.
a few bumps that took care of some issues out there with the, taking some prisoners out. I took care of that, Friday and then today. But that's gonna be our biggest challenge, but it's really nothing new to them out there, but trying to get their jailhouse supervisors to work and not be lazy is a problem. I called Brian Taylor, who's the captain over, and I'm like, listen, we got a contract with you guys. This needs to be done. He's like, I'm on it, so we've got it taken care of. Other than that, we have no issues with the dispatch working, zero.
Perfect. I like to hear that. That's reassuring. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Moving on to council liaison reports. Mr. Bailey, Labor Relations.
No meeting at this time.
All right. Mr. Fisher, Library School Board.
Nothing to update right now.
All right. Park, Green Business, Councilperson Ginevra.
Apparently there's like a text chain that the park board discusses what changes they made and stuff like
Okay.
that, so I got on that text chain last week, so.
Well, good.
And they're gonna have a meeting on Monday, August 4th?
I believe it's the 4th. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then the National Night Out is at the new, Hickey White Park on August 5th at
5:30.
5:30, okay.
Perfect.
And that's all I know.
Add one thing, if you talk to the park board, my wife goes to the pool just about every day with grandkids. She said the lifeguards are doing an outstanding job
Oh,
this year. They are attentive, just always looking, walking around, really watching the kids.
Our park department's doing it. I'm biased, but.
There was just a write-up in the paper,
Mm-hmm.
but I told her I'd let you know, get back to them.
oh, kind of related to that too is, so I didn't know that a lot of these changes to the Wi-Fi and the WAN that we're gonna implement for the city is gonna actually be paid for by the Parks Department? Is that right, Jason?
It'll come out of Stormwater and Parks, like.
Stormwater and Parks. But it's, they actually authorize it, right? So they have a lot.
Yeah, I'll explain that when we get to talk about it.
Okay. And I did have some, that I communicated in an email, some issues that some residents close to the new Hickey White Park had about the park, so. Just little things like, there's some big rocks there, and that invites little kids to throw the big rocks around. Basketball courts don't have anything to keep the balls from going out into the street or down into the creek. The, new pavilion's gonna be right next to the bathroom. I don't quite understand why that's a bad thing. I guess they're worried about the smell, but there's a sewer plant right next to it too, so I don't know.
Right. Well, that bathroom, how it is, right, you know, it's not a traditional park bathroom. I mean, it's full functioning plumbing. Yeah, it's a full service. I mean, it'll be,
Do you have a hot water heater in there too?
We will,
Yeah?
No, we took that out.
No, they took it out.
That'd be the first thing somebody takes.
we took the
Oh,
hot
really?
water heater out because it's gonna get winterized the same as our bathroom at the main park gets winterized around November.
The water, Mr. Friedmeier volunteered this time and ran all the water lines down there, so there is a hot water line. I just stopped putting in a hot water heater.
Okay,
So, I just don't think that's wise.
okay,
Another reason,
Typically, we're gonna turn the hot water off or the water off in the winter. We can do
okay,
that.
all right.
yeah, it's there if they ever would wanna put one, but really, if you're just going in there to wash your hands, by the time the hot water would get to the sinks, you're done washing your hands. I
Okay.
mean, if you wanted to wait, but,
And there's two bathrooms, is it one unisex and one, are they both unisex or? Yeah, both unisex. And then there's a back room for the utilities and stuff,
yeah.
right? Okay. Okay, yeah, I checked it out, it looks good.
All righty, moving on. Zoning appeals, Mr. Bradley,
Yeah, as I mentioned, meeting next Tuesday,
August 5th, 6:30? I believe those are at
So
6:30.
speaking of which, Diane called me and told me about the meeting. I don't know if it's because I got a neighbor that's, has a variance that they're filing, or that she doesn't know that Ken should actually be getting the meeting invites instead of me,
I don't know.
for the BOZA meetings, right? So, we
We'll
switch
double
things
check
around.
that.
Okay,
yeah, I would,
but,
Robert.
okay, so you know about it though, so are you planning on going?
Yeah.
Okay, good,
It's here, right?
Yep,
yeah.
yep, you'll sit right there. Yep, bless you. Public Works, Mr. Friedmeier.
everything I think is going pretty good. They're doing a good job on, Taylor. I went down there a few times.
Last week,
Yeah, looks like they're moving on pretty good. Hickey White Park's coming along good, so it's gonna be close.
all buttoned up with major projects by Friday afternoon.
Perfect. All right, Mr. Winkleman, Police and Fire.
No report.
All righty. All right, public response, does anyone in the audience wish to speak to anything related to the previous council meeting on June 23rd? Nothing. Moving on, old business, we have none. New business, liquor license renewal. I'll entertain a motion to approve the liquor licenses for Aldi Inc., number 11, Casachero, Pedal and Pie, Tyrama, Iguana's Mexican Grill LLC, and the Marquis on Main.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Bottleneck Bridge Ride, Mr. Eisenbies, would you like to speak?
So you have in your packet the request from Andrew Held, for the Bottleneck Bridge Ride. I believe it's on August 17th. So he's just requesting permission. He's pretty detailed in the packet, which ran a very well ran event. I believe the mayors they switch years every year, leading the parade, so I'm not sure who's doing it this year, but same thing, the police department signed off on it, so nothing different.
Yeah, they blocked 67 just for a little bit, and you have almost 500 riders. It's about 475 riders come down Mississippi, go up the heights, and then right through our town. It's an excellent event, so. Do we need a motion on that?
Yeah, just approval to. I'll make a motion to approve the Bottleneck Bridge Ride.
Second,
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries for the approval of the bike ride. All right, that takes us to the Wi-Fi and security cameras in Crystal City Parks.
All right,
Let's
so
try
I'll
it.
kind of lead into this, and then I'll turn it over to Monty, with /, and he'll kind of lead through the PowerPoint. But Jack, to answer your question, so the park board requested, I believe, $100,000 this year, which the council approved for capital improvements, in the parks. They used roughly $60,000 to $65,000 on making the bathrooms ADA compliant, brought it up to standard code so you can get in between the walls if there's a plumbing issue. So they did, Mr. Friedmeier and his son did it, they did a great job, council approved that, I think, back in February or March. So they had roughly 35 to 40,000 left, and Mr. Hinton is here, the park board president, so if you have any questions or want to jump in, that's fine. So they approved using the remaining funds for cameras in the park, up at the pool specifically and the summit, area. So when we started looking into that, it's about the same time I started having some problems down here with rocks being thrown, shortly after the season started. So we kind of morphed into, okay, what is it going to take to make sure that all these areas are secure? We're going to put cameras at this park. What can we do to get cameras down towards Hickey White Park? Because that's still traditionally where a lot of the homeless, navigate back through there, worrying about them breaking into the bathroom, things of that nature. We continually have problems at the dump with people dumping out of town contractors mostly. Probably once a month I run somebody off. Mr. Turner probably runs somebody off. The police run somebody off. So this kind of just turned into a bigger project than just the main park. And once we met with /, they're like, hey, Wi-Fi. There's no parks in the Quad City area that has free Wi-Fi in their parks. That's good. Let's look further into it. So that's kind of how this morphed into this project that we have now. Going back through the budget, we still had, let's call it 30,000 left from the park board. And they did approve, and we did approve the initial cameras at the parks now and maybe functioning tonight. Is that correct?
He's up there, I think, right now.
He's been up there all day. They're hung, they're going, but we're going to enhance that. Monty will go through some of that. And so I went back through the budget to see where we could, get these good improvements in the park, offer public Wi-Fi cameras, have our park secure. I talked to the police department a couple of times. I've already been texted by one of the park folks twice to see if they can have access to those cameras, just since they've been hung at the pool. So it is a need. I'm not saying our parks are full of crime, but incidents do happen everywhere. So going back through the budget, we did have some things like a dog park figured in, a mural on one of our buildings, things like that I wanted to do that we're not going to probably have time for this year, because we've been busy trying to get Hickey White Park done for National Night Out and things of that. So I found other areas in the budget to make up the difference if we decide to do this. I think it's good for the community. I think it's good for the safety and security of the people that visit the parks. There's some really neat stuff you can do with these cameras now. So with that being said, if anybody has any questions, Jimmy, do you have anything? Mayor?
You just said two people that asked for access to the cameras. What you're talking about is they're asking, can you look and see what's
Correct.
on there? Not
Footage, not,
saying, can
right.
we get on there
So
and watch your
if that happens, I would go to one of the, probably Detective Robinson, and he would download whatever. I'd give him some hours, he'd download it, give it to me. That's typically how we do it. I can get in there just enough, screw it up,
Yeah.
but they're always on my monitor so I can see
What's going
what's going on, right, as they are in the dispatch center. I think Crystal's computer, Eddie has them, so they're accessible.
And how many cameras total?
I don't, a lot. Well, I mean, by the time you add our cells, jail cells, and then outside of really here and First Street and the water plant, there's not really any on streets or anything like that. So this will be the first ones in the park, in the parks. And Monty has a PowerPoint that'll show you how everything's gonna work, so. If anybody has any questions how we got here, that's it. How we got to this presentation and using different funds to make this enhancement in our parks versus some of the other projects I have.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions about how it's got to be implemented, but I'll wait for the presentation and,
Well, one on the Wi-Fi, is that gonna be everywhere? Hickey White, Crystal, all parks?
Our three parks will have free Wi-Fi. And Monty will get into this, to my knowledge, of how we can control that. Like, they can't, just go there and download whatever they want. Like, it'll be so. With that, Monty, you have the floor.
Thank you, guys.
can we ask questions during your presentation?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
Jack, I actually looked at your
at your questions today. I
Appreciate
hope I
that.
answered them the best I could.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, let me kind of introduce myself. I'm Monty Hickey. There's a few people here I don't know. So I appreciate you guys allowing me to speak. I am the president of Forward Slash Technology. I've started Forward Slash Technology in 2010, 2011, and actually had Crystal City as before I even started Forward Slash Technology. And going back, I'm giving a little bit of background because I want to tell you kind of how we got here. And this was part of the technology side of how we got here. And that is that I remember coming in 2010, and this is no dive to anybody, but this is just the way networks were in municipalities, in local and state and local governments. Came in, and you really didn't have a network to speak of. And since 2010, Jackie been there the whole time, just about the whole time, no, the whole time, and several others. We've basically built an entire backbone to your networks to secure them for a lot of reasons. One, for the technology implementations of policing, of just being able to work efficiently within the organization and not have things just go down all the time. And so part of what we started back in 2010, which we're still doing today, is we always gave a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year perspective. And in that 1-year, 3-year, 5-year perspective, it's kind of was on a shoestring budget kind of thing. It was based on budget, it was based on technology and the needs. And now technology, back in the old days, you either had a Yugo or a Cadillac, and now everything is kind of merged into one with technology and software. So you don't really have that differentiation between a Yugo or a Cadillac. Now, basically, you have the same kind of technology. It's just about how we get there and how we access it, and can we access it faster? And then, moreover, it's about reoccurring costs. So what we've tried to do on Forward Slash Technology, our biggest side of things is to try to bring down the reoccurring cost by implementing infrastructure that can support without having to use people like Charter or Spectrum or AT&T or some type of organization that's going to deliver bandwidth, extensive bandwidth or high output bandwidth for a very costly amount of money. So we just got done looking at this infrastructure, and this infrastructure that we're going to talk about tonight is just an expansion to what we just did 5 years ago with the new 4.5 years ago, Public Works, and then back in 2011, we actually configured the fiber between City Hall and First Street. Everybody's familiar with First Street, the First Street building. So we have now fiber from City Hall all the way down to Public Works through First Street building. With that, we're starting to create what we call a metropolitan area network. This is your own private fiber, and what that means is there's no reoccurring costs to speak of. Now, I mean, in 50 years, we might have to replace a little fiber, but we still have the conduit there, and the cost of reoccurring costs are gone. What that also means is that we have a really big pipe to put a lot of technology through, and so that means all the cameras that we installed down at Public Works, the police department's able to view those live, and they're not going to get any pixelations or things like that. They're going to actually see them live like they're sitting right here. So the same kind of concept is what we wanted to utilize going forward, within the rest of the city. Jason came and asked us for some cameras down at the parks. We said, well, hey, let's go ahead and expand this because we have future need at the levee. For other levee problems that were out there, and the technology like we talked about. I want to hit on that just a little bit because the technology that we have is the same technology in here. So all the access cameras that we have here and in the city, everywhere in the city, those are all going to be part of that one comprehensive, cohesive system. So what that means is whatever we're getting on one camera, we can do on multiple cameras. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So with that, I want to talk about kind of some of the executive overview of what we're actually going to do tonight, and that's providing not just a network infrastructure or a metropolitan area network, that is your own private network to the city of Crystal City, but also a multi-point distribution. Now, this is utilizing point-to-point or wireless connectivity to get high band and output, throughput, for technology use. So that could be Wi-Fi in the parks or cameras, but we want to connect that to a fiber backbone to allow for that reduction in cost.
Can I stop you right there, real quick? So, that was one of my questions, because, the proposal says to put an access point on the, 30-foot pole at the end of Lincoln Avenue. So that would be like, straight down this way, almost to the levee where the old Hickey White Park was. So that would be like the access point for all the cameras in the area to access via Wi-Fi?
Just in that certain area, Jack. So it's a, right there, we have a trifecta, if you will. I don't know what a 4 is. Whatever the fourth power is too, we'll have that coming in the future. But we have Charlie A. Brown Memorial Park right there, that's right at the end of Lincoln.
Right.
And then right down the hill, and it's a great vantage point to have an overview, we have Hickey White Park, right? And so then straight across from that, by elevation, we can hit the dump in those poles that are over there.
But that's all via wireless access, right?
Well,
To those
so
places?
down to Lincoln, we're proposing to put fiber, because
Right.
then we're gonna take all of that consumption of resources, and we're gonna talk about that per
Okay.
site here in just a second, but great question.
No, that just wasn't clear to me, but that helps a lot, thanks.
You're gonna see it a lot here.
Now after Lincoln, everything's point-to-point.
That's right, point to multi-point, actually. And then that'll eventually, one of the bids that we don't have tonight is up at the levee, because we're not sure exactly what we're gonna need with that yet. We're not sure exactly what we're gonna be protecting up there. If we're gonna, looking at certain well switches, or you can speak on that at another time, but it's expandable. Now, I will tell you, and my memory is a little bad, but we did the sewer treatment plant down there as well, and we have a point-to-point there that's gotta be 10 years, right? So, but we don't own that anymore, so we can't use that as a point, right? So, and that's fine, because we can just keep expanding this point to multi-point. That's what's great about it. So we don't have to, we're not like out of a system and now we gotta buy a new system. Everything that we're doing and have done, we're just expanding on what we currently have, and we're gonna talk about that here.
And then, I guess that was my question, short line of fiber everywhere, why can't you just go point-to-point?
Well, you can, as long as it's line of sight, and
I mean, we got a pretty tall water tower out here, you can't get a line of sight off it, and just run everything.
well, we were hoping to do that to Summit House, and we're gonna talk about that, because that was one of your questions, and running fiber down there is a tough thing. But there's maintenance costs, so there's a lot more maintenance cost in wireless connectivity on that long of a range, from tower to, down to the Summit House, or at North City Park. So we did some back when PP&E we're here, we did a point-to-point over behind your house, actually. And that was off the water tower, or close to the water tower. And then we actually did some other things on the water tower. So we're gonna use that as much as possible. The biggest thing is that consumption of that throughput of technology. So if we're gonna run wireless infrastructure, if we're gonna run cameras, and potentially use that for policing purposes, for flock, because one of the things that you need to understand is every access camera that we can put in, we're now able to put a flock license on. So everything that is out there now, I believe you said you have 4 now, Captain, and so, but we can add that license at a much lower rate in those certain areas if we want to add that down the road. So
Monty, can you explain what a flock is? That's just a license plate reader,
Well, it's not just a license plate reader, Mr. Mayor. It's actually a full AI instituted environment or software environment that is a proprietary solution. We don't offer flock. It's a proprietary solution. A lot of municipalities use it for, Amber Alerts and stolen vehicles and those types of things. But that is another way that we're able to add. It's a value added to these cameras if we ever decided to do that long term. and I believe it's about half price on just taking the license as opposed to taking their license in camera. So even if you wanted to do it in this room, we could do that on any of our access cameras. Not that you would want to do that, but we have that ability. And so, especially at the parks and some of those areas where you have a lot of transient, people that did, you might want to do that. I don't know, that can be something that we can talk about, but definitely it's expandable, so. Okay, with that, we've already talked about the metropolitan area network and the point-to-point, and some of the benefits of and this, again, one of your questions, Jack, I'm trying to hit all your questions, too. One of the questions was Square, was it Squarespace? Yeah, or whoever it is. We don't do that. That is just something that we're just providing internet access so that they don't have to use a cell phone, for the summertime. Okay, so we talked about technology, Jack. One of the questions you were asking in your question brief was what different types of technology are we using? These are the 6 different points of technology that we're going to be using, and we're going to be talking about these. The first 2 are the distribution nodes and the client nodes. That's the point to multipoint. These will be this is what you're going to see up on the poles. Along with that type of wireless access point. So the one on the bottom left is a wireless access point. Then the 2 types of cameras. The 2 types of cameras are the panoramic and then the dual lens. In the cases of Charlie Brown, Hickey, and the dump, we're going to use the Peanut dual, because we're able to get 2 different views for 1 license cost. So that's a huge thing for, cost, capital expenditure cost, as well as just being able to utilize 2 different viewpoints. And all of those need 2 different viewpoints, and we'll talk about it. The last thing on the bottom right is that siren, or that light that I think you called it a rude light. And so this can literally be however we want. It can flash red, white, and blue. You might see those along the highway. You see those in cameras, the blue, the white and blue on the cameras that they have for temporary cameras. We do that. That can do that. That can do audio. It can also, we can record messages. It can alert PD when there's people there. But we can also segment this to just specific areas. So it's not like it's going to be a sensor that's going off because somebody's walking on the sidewalk at 11 o'clock at night. We can specifically hone in exactly inside the park, inside an area that we don't want anybody there, if that makes sense. Or a bigger area. If the park closes at 10 o'clock or whatever it is, then we can start at 11 o'clock so that doesn't do that. Okay? Okay, so this is what we talked about. So we talked about early on was the initial of what Forward Slash has been doing for the last 15 years with the city. And you can see from City Hall, back in 2011, that's when we hung our first cameras on the tower at First Street, looking at the back parking lot. I don't know when that back parking lot was redone, but we had cameras back there. And so that's the green leg that's there. And then in 2020, approximately First Street to Public Works, we ran fiber and we bored fiber underneath and then over the bridge there. And what that allowed us to do was to get that bandwidth that we needed, that throughput, back to City Hall so that we could share the same resources. The other thing is, too, is not just the throughput, but we're using the internet out of this building right here for Public Works. So what that means is Public Works doesn't have to have its own internet connection, which means no more reoccurring costs. You own it. So it was a one-time CapEx. It all comes back here, and that's how we facilitate that technology. What we're proposing is from Public Works to the end of Lincoln Avenue. That's extended down into Hickey Park, so please disregard that. It should be at the top of the hill. Everybody's familiar at the end of Lincoln Park where the steps kind of go down. So we're going to stop it right there. That's kind of where that pole is. The city has a pole that we would like to put up, and go ahead, and that vantage point gives us a lot of different vantage points across from both the Charlie A. Brown as well as Hickey Park from up top. And any questions on this before I go on? Because this is kind of an overview.
Yeah, Monty, I got one. I'm missing who pays for laying the fiber?
That's part of this quotation.
But you have to work with AT&T for that, correct?
No, it's private. You own
Oh, it's
the
a private
It's your
fiber
own.
network.
The
Okay.
city of Crystal City will own that fiber.
And so right now, the fiber that comes from City Hall across the railroad track, past Bailey and down to the street department, that's all private?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I did not know that.
And it all has wiring, and it's all, it's all, jacketed for that purpose.
Okay, but it's hooked into AT&T
Nope.
fiber here, right?
No.
No, so,
In fact, we have Spectrum, fiber here,
right,
and that's just for your internet access.
okay,
This that we put in, here is actually owned by the city,
Right.
and managed by the city. We permitted it obviously through the city. And part of that is that you don't have to pay any services on that at all. It's all, you're just creating your own AT&T network, is all we're doing. It's called a metropolitan area network. So
Mhm.
inside, we have a local area network, and then a wide area network for building to building. But here in this case, we're doing a metropolitan where we're doing buildings to buildings.
And there's no maintenance cost on any of that unless a
Only
wire
when
breaks
Andy
or
gets it
something?
with the backhoe.
Right.
Shouldn't be in one, so.
Which I wonder who would do that.
So that's the only time that we have it, and then we can splice. So inside the, what we call dead mans or into the ground vaults, we actually have some extra fiber spooled up in each one of those. Not a whole lot, but enough that if we pull it with a backhoe, we get a little bit of tension, restraint, and then we can patch it too if we need to.
So I've got a little disc, kind of a manhole for fiber in my front yard.
Handhole.
It's called a panhole?
Handhole.
Handhole.
Hands, get your hands on handhole.
Yeah,
Okay,
handhold or
all right.
ground vault or,
Okay. Who owns that?
I don't know which one you have, I think that's ours, meaning
Okay.
Crystal City's.
Well, it was put in like in the winter, this last winter, so
That's AT&T.
that's AT&T.
Yeah. So
You can see why I'm a little confused.
Well, so a lot of organizations like AT&T, Spectrum, even MCI still has an organization. You don't ever hear about them, but they're really the ones that own everything. And that's not the name of the organization anymore, but they're going around and they're putting new fiber in everywhere.
Okay.
So you remember the old POTS lines or the plain old telephone lines?
Mhm.
Those are all going away. So all the copper stuff is going away. So everybody and their brothers coming in with new fiber.
Okay.
But if you use that fiber, if Crystal City used that fiber, we would have to pay a monthly cost, and it's expensive. So we just got done finished with Perryville and Perry County's metropolitan area network. We actually helped build the Perry County Joint Justice Center and did all the wiring and the technology for that. And part of that was to do a full ring at Perryville for that purpose. And we were able to get their ROI, or their return on the investment, down to 7 years across the city and county. So we were able to cut out all of those, and that's just from Spectrum, AT&T, Big River, Show Me, technology, internet charges. We're all now consolidated. Not to mention your firewalls and all of that maintenance of your yearly cost. All of that's reduced because now you only have one source, as opposed to me putting a firewall here, a firewall at every location that there's an internet connection.
So we're still connected to Spectrum Fiber, you said, and is that contract through / as well? No,
No.
that's separate.
Yeah.
So we have a recurring cost with Spectrum Business, right? Okay.
So what we're trying to do is bring all of the technology for the Brown, Hickey, and the Levy. We're
Yeah.
trying to bring all
Into
of
a
that.
private
because we would
network.
have to put internet there.
Right.
And then your cost of ownership there is gonna go way up, as well as you're not gonna have nearly the capabilities, the technological capabilities, because the bandwidth's just not gonna be there.
We just have to pay for the fiber between all the locations.
Just for like our levy, we pay $165 a month for a DSL phone line. Once we get that, we won't pay it anymore. That's just one monthly bill.
That's right, per month. And
Right.
now we won't have to put any internet, because originally we were gonna put internet at the park, at Hickey Park, and utilize the back room, put technology in it, and then just run a, charter Spectrum there. And we said, well, wait a minute, we have a pretty good vantage point here to do a lot of things that we want, and then also future, because with the expansion of the point to multi-point, I can shoot across the levee, hit the dump, and then I can shoot back up to the levee and put a camera up there if we needed to in the future, if that makes sense. And it's not reoccurring cost, it's just, now you just have that cost of that pole, the electric, and a lot of that's absorbed, so. Okay, so here's a great overview of the point-to-multipoint distribution network. So this is at the top, you're going to see Charlie Brown Park, that's at the end of Lincoln Avenue. That is going to shoot across to Darrell Hickey White Park and then across to the dump. Does that kind of help you? Now, these are not cameras or Wi-Fi. This is just the point-to-multipoint. This is just putting in the wireless network for us. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions? Okay, so this is from at the end of Lincoln. These are the viewpoint that we're going to see, so that we can expand. If you want to put more cameras in that park later on, or we need to do that, we can do that. This isn't the exact vantage point because, you know, I'm at the ground level versus we're going to be 30 feet in the air or 20 feet in the air, and you're going to have more of an overall view that we want to be able to see. And again, these are intelligent cameras, so we can put spaces in there for things like motion, and if that's in a particular zone or whatever we want. And then you'll see the sirens there, the red, white, blue, or the red, yellow, blue, and green and white sirens, or lights. You don't have to use the siren. It can be just lights if you want flashing lights at 12 o'clock at night or whatever it is. But it does, we know factually that this works and this deters people. It can also call 911 if we need to, or call dispatch, however we want to do that. But what you're going to see is these are the vantage points. So why we have a peanut camera here, the peanut camera being a 2-lens camera that kind of looks like a peanut. These are the 2 vantage points. Now we're back up and we're looking at the same thing. You're going to see from the top of, or at the end of Lincoln Avenue, looking over Hickey White Park, you have a pretty good vantage point, and we're going to show another picture of that. And then the other lens is going to go to the right towards Charlie Brown Park. Also right there, we will have a siren, and we will have a wireless access point. What this does is going to allow for wireless access or public Wi-Fi, throttled public Wi-Fi, in the Charlie A. Brown Park. Make sense? So you can see there's a lot of technology going into why we want that throughput and have that. You couldn't do that with just a charter connection.
You just mentioned Charlie Brown Park, but you didn't mention Hickey White Park, so is there going to be public Wi-Fi in the Hickey White Park too?
There will, but it's not going to be part of that at the end of Lincoln. We're getting there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's the vantage point to Hickey White, which is a perfect overview for the police to be able to just kind of capture the whole thing. You can even see where the pavilion's going up and in the bathrooms even from that. It's about 120 yards from that point to the bathrooms. So with these cameras, we have pretty good intelligence that we can zoom in if we need to. But you're going to notice at the bottom there, the furthest back light will also have cameras there, another peanut camera with a siren that's going to look directly at the pavilion, the bathroom, and we kind of vantage pointed it so that we're going to kind of get the back of the bathrooms. We can't get all the way behind it, but we're going to kind of get behind it, if that makes sense. We can always add more cameras if we need to, but then there will also be a public Wi-Fi there as well. So there'll be full Wi-Fi on the courts, cameras on the courts, and then that's also going to be our vantage point to shoot across the levee, as you saw on the earlier slide.
This might be a good time to ask about that equipment that you're putting on the pole. Is that purchased or leased? Is there
All purchased.
it's all purchased, so there's no recurring costs on that either?
No recurring.
Unless you put like a flock license on it, right?
Yeah, and that's just licensing. That's just however we want to do it. Jack, you know, we can do it wherever or however you want. I mean, there's going to be, you know, these things don't last forever, but I mean, we
Right.
have 5-year warranties on them, and so in 5 years we'll have a conversation. Do we want to extend the network warranty, or what do we want to do?
But there's some type of server connected to all that that's recording all that.
Yeah,
And
so that's another reason why we want to have the fiber to the end of Lincoln. What that allows us to do is actually use the NVR, the network video recorder that's here, instead of purchasing another one and then putting it down at Hickey Way Park, because that's expensive, and then you have more recurring costs for that. So the fiber will pay for itself, and a big portion of this, I think over half of this cost is fiber, of all of these quotes.
And the NVR that we have will support all these new cameras?
We're gonna have to increase that at some point. I don't have that information right off the top of my head, but I know we're okay to this point with what we're doing here. If we start getting into, if the captain says, Monty, I need you to get higher def, down there, and we're not, we're doing full-time video recording. A lot of this has to do with just the retention policies of data and how much data do we want to collect. Do we want to collect it in 4K, 8K, 26K? Are we looking at license plates? What are we doing? These are not forensic style cameras. That wasn't part of our requirements. Can we do that? Yes, we can. That's just adding a different camera, a much more expensive camera, but then we would just utilize that for a specific purpose, like a license plate or AI, facial recognition, or gait movement or something like that. Does that make sense? Fully expandable. Now, this is kind of tough because this is the dump area. So to your right, you see the blocks that are over there. That's at the gate of the dump. So these is kind of the viewpoints, the camera viewpoints. One is going, so another peanut camera, but an overview, not forensic style camera or viewing points, but this goes to the gate and then also to the dump overview. Now, from this vantage point, we have straight up to the levee that we can do. We'd have to take out one or two trees, but that's future, and all we have to do is just expand this point to multi-point. So you're not looking at more fiber or more of any of that. We're just looking at another access point and a point to multi-point node.
I'm sorry for asking so many questions, but, is there fiber all the way down to the dump then?
There's not.
So
on
that's
this pole is gonna be a point to multi-point.
connected to the Lincoln.
Connected to Hickey White up to, and I can go back to that, it is.
Well, I mean, it's talking to.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna look, right there. And those are that's the
Oh,
point to
okay.
multi-point.
So it's gonna go from Hickey White to the dump?
It's actually going from Charlie Brown
I'm sorry, yeah.
to Hickey to the dump.
Right, right.
That will be line of sight, yeah, because this is a full 2 gig backbone. We can increase it to 10. I can see the top of the pole. From Hickey Way. Oh, really? Yeah, just the top. That's all I need. So the levee and that hill there's on the way? No, I can get there. There's another way that I can get there too. It's a great question because we had to do the whole engineering spec on it. Yeah, the elevation reporting on it. Well, I didn't either. Honestly, I didn't either, but we can see just the top of that. The other way we can do it is if we can shoot right past the church that's right there, but we'd have to ask them to shave a little part of their tree, and we don't really need to do that because then that's a long-term maintenance problem. So we did the elevation report, and we can do either way. So I think we're good. Any more on that? Okay. Okay. So then everybody kind of understands what that's doing, and that will give us the best viewpoints there. And again, these aren't set in stone. If we want to capture a different thing or put another camera up there, we're able to do that with the way that we have built the technology. Okay, so this is the current Summit House and the pool connectivity. We're actually, that's going to be finalized today. We couldn't do it. We would have been finalized last week, but they had some events there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But right now, what it's doing is we're utilizing the Summit House. They had fiber put in there. I don't know who's actually paying for that. Is it through the city though? Okay, so it's a reoccurring fiber cost that they're doing, and hopefully in the future we can remove that by either doing some type of long-range point-to-point. I tried to look at the tower for elevation. We'd have to take out about a 100-year-old oak tree, and I didn't want to do that or even suggest that. But it's certainly plausible if we wanted to do that down the road. But right now, they have it for their events anyway, and they're allowing, we can just piggyback off of that by using the tunneling. But there is where you're gonna have reoccurring costs, because we have another firewall there now, today. So that's gonna be an annual cost. It's not that expensive, but it is still reoccurring cost, and it adds up. And so if we can get internet down there, that would be wonderful, and it would be great, but we're just not there today, for budgetary reasons. And then right now, we have the point to multi-point from the Summit House over to, the Parks building, and then from the Parks building over to the pool. Now, I met with the mayor and Jason the last couple of weeks, and we talked about putting an emergency button at the pool, which we have at other municipal pools, and it works fantastic, and that's direct to fire and ambulance, as well as 911. So we're able to put that in with this technology, as well as another siren if people are down there messing around or doing what they need to, whatever they're not supposed to be doing. And then there is a panoramic camera that's wide angle that's at the pool that looks at the entire pool. And then the pool will now have public Wi-Fi as well that will also be throttled. Any questions? This is the one that's already been approved. Then this is the proposed public Wi-Fi for the city park there. So we're adding the Wi-Fi at the pool, and then out in the parking area, and that's more going to be for flea markets in the future. We currently have public Wi-Fi down in Perryville, and that went over really well for their Mayfest that they had. We had over 100 and some odd vendors that were utilizing that same network, the same exact network infrastructure that we're talking about here, and that was great for the commerce as well as economic development. So we got a lot of praise for that, and because it just works really, really well. And the way that we're going to stagger this in the park will allow us to have pretty good saturation throughout the park as well.
Is now a good time to ask about public Wi-Fi?
Sure.
So, how do can anybody access this public Wi-Fi, or would they have to ask the city for permission to use it?
So we can that's a great question, Jack, because we can set that up however we would like to do that. We have the ability to put a landing page. Obviously, we want to put a landing page for acceptable use policies. We don't want to have pornography or go into anything like that. But I think, the shopping and stuff, if a mom's out there or dad's out there and their kids are at the park, you're going to probably shop online, Amazon or whatever. So we don't want to really block that, but we're going to be blocking on pornography anyway. So a lot of that'll be gone. We can set up landing pages that would say, hey, put in your user, your mailing address and set up a username and password. Or we can just leave it open and throttle it.
Well, another thing I thought about right away, there's a couple rows of houses real close to the park up there. Could they just tap into it and use that for their own use instead of
Well, I guess
paying
theoretically,
for
but
spectrum?
I can point that in a direction that's not going to allow that to happen.
Okay.
So we want to, and that's not because we don't want to give it to your citizens at their house. It's because we want the most saturation for the parks.
Right, they're going to consume bandwidth that
Correct.
you can use, yeah.
That's right. And we're going to throttle that too. So because, there's only a finite amount of data usage through Summit House, internet access, right? It's not a full 10 gig pipe. It's a small pipe. And the more pipe that you put in there, the larger the cost is. Does that make sense? So, any more questions on that? That, with the 4 antennas, that's exactly what it's going to look like on the side of a pole, just aesthetically. And that's all I have.
Still got time for more questions? Go ahead, I've been hogging it, go ahead.
Yes, sir, Treasurer Cherry.
In terms of the internet off at night, I've attracted nuisance of people camping out at, these parks and
Absolutely.
places.
Absolutely. We can set,
7 to 6 or something like that.
we absolutely can do that. Yeah, and we're doing that in a lot of other places.
$8,000 to monitor a dump. Seems like this could be accomplished with a gate, master lock, and a chain, which is what we're doing already. Do we really want to spend $8,000 to watch a dump?
One fine from the DNR can triple that $8,000 from somebody just dumping something down there.
Thus the gate,
If they've taken the gate off and they've cut it, they've torched it, gates, we put it in concrete and they still got rid of it. They wanna use that dump sometimes, they can get in there.
And keep in mind too, that it's not just the camera side, of that dump, that can also, it will be a facilitator to get us up to the levee for that in the future. So whether you do that today, we don't have to do the dump today, we could do that later on when we do the levee. Perfect.
So I was gonna kinda go in that same direction. I'm looking for how we're gonna use this. I would imagine it'd be nice to monitor Hickey White Park and Charlie Brown Park at night, so that if, there's activity there that we don't want there at 2:00 in the morning, that we know about it. And who would be monitoring that? I don't think Jason would be in his office looking at the monitors at that time, but the police may, I suppose. I don't know, have we thought about what that's gonna do to our, what we need for the amount of people that we need to staff that?
I don't believe we're keeping, this isn't for a live monitoring. When someone's at the computer, yeah, we can look at the cameras, but it's more of a, hey, we have that if something happens, from the pool's standpoint, let's say, we had someone take a purse. She didn't mean to, but she took a purse, got home, well, someone was like, hey, do you guys have cameras at the pool? And we're like, no, we don't. We can call, I can call Jason, or somebody can make a phone call to somebody that can monitor it, but it's not right then. If it's during business hours, we certainly can, but.
Those cameras are still, correct me if I'm wrong, up in the squad room, up in the dispatch center. The officers come in at 2 in the morning, they're having their lunch or whatever, they can see those cameras, and they're, I got probably 24 on one screen.
Well, I would imagine, do you get motion detection when,
They can be set up on motion detection, yeah.
that would,
I don't have any set, I don't know how they're set up, I just monitor.
yeah.
We have the ability, Jack, I don't know if anybody would wanna do it, but we have the ability to, to reach out and send alerts and notifications to people when there are things going on. Whether or not we wanna do that is certainly up to you all.
I was trying to make the comparison to home security systems where you could have a subscripted, a service where people will monitor it for you and then, call you up and ask you if you want to call the police or something like that. And if they don't get an answer based on your procedure, call the police for you or something like that.
Well, we can do that based on motion. We can do that based on, we can even put what we call halo systems, that if people are calling for help, let's just say at night at 2:00 in the morning, somebody's screaming help, or they're screaming the word gun or something. We can alert on those things as well. Not with this system, but we have the technology now that we just add that device, put that there, and you have that ability if you ever need it, because the network is there now. The network is the big cost and is the big, the big chunk here, is that.
Bandwidth-wise, all this is on the same fiber, or the same. So the spectrum that it's gonna be running on, would that be from only whatever service we get from Charter here now?
You're not using spectrum at all in this scenario.
Okay.
No, this is all
Just
private fiber and private points.
Within the network,
So if all these locations and everything's going on, what,
Minus the pool, I'm sorry, minus the pool, because we're using the Summit House Charter connection for that to make a tunnel back to here.
okay, but you see what I'm saying, like, everything's online, cameras that take up a bunch of, bandwidth, that's what your word is for that, but, so how much do we have of bandwidth that'll accept all of these, or does it not work?
You could add another 400 cameras and we're still good on the fiber.
Okay, and that's,
And I may be a little over on that.
okay, okay, and that's running just off of a piece of equipment that's here then?
Well, both end to end.
Okay.
End to end. So that fiber is just like you taking that little cable from your back of your computer and plugging it into the wall. That's kind of what we're doing. We're just extending that down
Well, and I guess for everybody that's on the internet,
We're not managing anything with the internet. None of this has anything to do with the internet.
well, it's just the bandwidth that they're using to get on there.
Yeah,
So
so the,
they could be 400 subscribers at the park on it, and it's not gonna slow.
oh, you're talking about the people actually, the saturation, the utilization
Of everything.
We're gonna hit the maximum, which I think is 50 per device, for that higher throughput. But since we have the saturation aspects, we're gonna have overlay. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna just dump you to the next one. And it's gonna what we call trapezing you to the next wireless access point. So in the event that we have, like a flea market, as an example, we can throttle that up and say, okay, this one is gonna take 150 nodes. And we're okay because we're gonna pass that utilization over to the other nodes.
I guess my question in it was, how much do we have to spread out over the cameras, the line of sight, the users in all three parks? Is it, okay, it's unlimited?
Yeah, so right now the fiber itself is a 10 gig backbone. I think Charters is like 100 meg, so it's 1,000th of that, or 100th of that. So yeah, you're fine. The devices are going to be oversaturated before the fiber. I'm sorry, the devices would be before the fiber would be.
So that large number you said before.
The 10 gig.
Yeah, it's coming from where?
It's just what the fiber itself carries.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
That's all it is. It's just a fiber optic line that we have a switch on this end and a switch on this end, and the two switches talk to each other and they create that 10 gig backbone.
So you don't have to get any kind of bandwidth from anywhere else to run that?
No.
That's my main question.
No, yeah, and we don't, and that's the other thing too, because we don't really want, the public on that network. So the network, and I probably should have stated that earlier, the public Wi-Fi will ride on its own virtual private network, so it won't even be anywhere, you couldn't access any devices at the city at all. It's on a completely different network. Mhm.
That's gonna go through Spectrum, still Wi-Fi?
No. So you don't need internet. You're creating your own spectrum. You're creating your own AT&T. We're creating our own network that you guys own and manage. And that's,
It's like the network inside of your home.
That's right.
That's not accessing the internet, it's your computers talking to one
This has nothing to do
another.
with the internet. This is just getting all those cameras down at the dump at Hickey White, at Charlie A. Brown, back to here. That's all it's doing. It's just creating that network between these 2 points and all these multi-points. Now, the other thing too, because it's a good question, because in the future, if you decide to add cameras or something else at a different stop signs or other places along that route, we can just pull that up to a pole and add another camera, because we'll have enough fiber there to do that.
So, it seems to me like the limiting factor for the internal network would be how much video you can store and
Yeah,
type
that's
at the
again-
same time, yeah.
That's exactly right, Jack, because it's gonna be on a retention policy.
Well, that's gonna be different than what the police department has. We can put whatever retention policy we want on the park. I'm sure Captain can tell me, you probably gotta keep stuff for a year, I'm guessing.
Depending on what, but yeah.
Yeah.
We have that capability, we will see. We do that.
Yeah, we can archive some things too, and for Sunshine, because we take Sunshine Law into account here as well. But typically, because we're post-active or reactive to this, it's kind of what Mr. Mayor said is that it's kind of a reactive side of things, so it's being recorded. So if there is a problem, we're seeing it, then we pull that off and we retain that for Sunshine purposes. Does that make sense?
We keep our stuff 60 days.
I guess we have reviewed all the legal things that we have to, like in terms of state statutes, for cities using video cameras, and is there something like a retention period that we have to abide by state statutes, or?
It would be any.
Monty, do you know?
Somebody requesting a video of an incident that happened in the park, that if the police are involved, we would probably have that.
Right,
And
right.
that stands with the Sunshine Law. That's at the same, rate or the same retention policy as you would as a sunshine law, which is, in most cases, in this case, it would probably be forever, because you're, chain of command and chain of custody and keeping that. It just
Yeah.
depends on what the crime is at that point.
Okay.
And I'd have to defer to
That's
the
what we
captain.
do now, I mean,
Yeah.
we already.
So we just kind of off-site that, and then we have it marked to where, in the chain of custody of that has to go right from the NVR to that device, so that it can go right to the prosecuting attorney or whoever it is. Whoever's requesting it, I should say.
All the switching equipment would be here in City Hall? Like
No, not all of it. Some of it's gonna be up on a pole in a hardened, we have a little hardened box that'll be up there. You see them all over the place now. They're pretty much everywhere. But it allows for some expansion but they're little hardened switches that allow us to go below freezing.
But the things that run the VPNs and the WAN and all that, that's gonna be here? All the servers? Okay.
Well, yes and no, yes, to answer your question, because all we're really gonna do is bypass Public Works. We're just gonna barrel connect that and just come right back to City Hall, so it goes directly back here. It's not stopping and it's just kind of bypassing Public Works.
So we had to buy more equipment for that?
No, it's actually just a connection,
Okay.
just a barrel connection.
Well, I mean,
We're doing that, yeah.
For all the network equipment though?
We have expansion of capabilities here that we already have.
Okay.
In fact, 2010, we bought a very expensive core switch. That was a big joke because I came in and I remember you drilling me on that. And we still have that same switch, but just upgraded that at no cost to the city, because we were able to upgrade that. So that's been 15 years. And that was a core backbone switch of,
I hope it's a Cisco.
it was $4,800. I remember that. I remember that being a heart attack.
I have a lot of stock in Cisco.
Perfect.
So as of right now, everything we're gonna spend gets us cameras down here, but we don't have the fiber to pull yet to do the entire park, just the swimming pool.
Well, the requirements, Kenny, wasn't to put cameras at that park. It was just for public Wi-Fi. But the great part about this, we can just add a camera, if we need to do that. Now, we're gonna be held to limitations based on the internet connectivity at the Summit House, but right now, we can also throttle that a little differently. So if we have to, we could put a small NVR down at the pool, at the Summit House, because it's temperature controlled, and just leave it there, and then use the tunnel if the police need to look at it or view it, so that we're not eating up that bandwidth of Charter.
Do we know what the Summit Charters, what their gig is?
I actually requested that on Friday, and I haven't received it yet, so I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I was
And
just
And I
curious.
should know that, but because they were working on it, but I didn't get that information. I think it's a 500 meg, is my question, is my thought, but I don't know. And
Right.
whether it's synchronous or not, I don't know the answer to that, so, but I can find out for you.
Okay.
Where I was at with it, this is kinda just the start, how much we plan on spending down the road on all this?
We grow every year with the cameras. We've had a couple requests from the police department a couple times to put cameras on the backside of our light posts to public works buildings before. So, yeah, same time. But this is coming out of stormwater and large capital improvement money that I had put aside, I'm just not gonna do those other projects.
And it morphed into more than, I believe, Mr. Eisenbach called me and he was like, hey, we're meeting at Hickey White, would you like to do this? And, the price went up and I'm like, well, we got, the $10,000 or $12,000 at the pool for the Wi-Fi, that was, yeah, we're good with that. The park board already approved that. I'm good with that. When this started morphing into, hey, the boring came back at like $50K, I'm like, we're going to council. We have to, approach this. And, Monty put together a presentation, and that's just where we're at. I mean, it's not in an ordinance form or anything of that nature. This is just educational purpose tonight. And if you guys would like to move forward with it, we certainly can, or more information, that's all it is. It's just information to say, hey, this is where it's at. Jason's job was to find the money for it. The money is there. I have not done a tremendous amount of research on this by any means. Monty's done.
It's right up Jack's alley, he's got all the questions,
I know, when he fired off those emails, I'm like, perfect. That's what, That's his job,
All
so.
those questions, but are we still gonna have to bore and run more fiber from here to the park?
Well, either that or you don't have to. I mean, we could just run internet in perpetuity out of some house. I wouldn't do that. We know that the cost of ownership of that is gonna go way down by putting in a man, but are extending that fiber. But now the multi-points are getting to be so good. But there's a lot of overhead with that. So, with the fiber, that's like 50 years, so and then if you have to replace it, you still have a conduit in the ground. So that's just pulling new fiber, pulling out the old and putting in the new. So in 50 years or whatever it is, or when it breaks, but basically you own it.
And the majority of your bid was the infrastructure that will be there for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the majority of, what I just skimmed through and looked at, but yeah.
And, does it make sense to do that long-term? Absolutely, because you're gonna be able to do more with technology down the road, and provide more things to the public. I will tell you, the public's, opinion on public Wi-Fi is through the roof. Talk to your economic development departments, they'll tell you that it is well received, and a lot of the people even like the cameras. We didn't think the cameras were even gonna go to the parks, but they like that.
No, I like the cameras at the pool. I think we've had a couple of requests like Jason
That's right.
spoke of earlier, but I mean, I don't have an issue.
I like the cameras, but is it worth $100,000?
Right, well, I'm not,
Because you have one or two incidents a year.
no, I get that, and
Yeah, I want the park safe by all means, but.
I understand that. And I wasn't going to entertain, I mean, I think, I wasn't gonna entertain a motion, it's just educational tonight, and, we're not on it. Jason, are we on a timeline on this by any means?
No, I just need some direction. Or, go back in August, say whatever happened with the cameras, and then September, hey, what are we gonna do? So, they're building out the park stuff that was approved. We need a direction to move forward on that.
I think the park stuff's getting, I mean, I like where the park is, I mean, I'm good with the
The only thing that the park
park.
has is the camera, it doesn't have
That's
public
correct.
Wi-Fi. So
Right.
just have the one camera there.
I like the fact that the new Hickey White Park would have some security on it, because it's at a dead-end street. It's in a neighborhood with a history of some mischievous stuff, so,
Our sewer plant was broken into and sold vehicles 2 or 3 years ago.
And the money's there, I'm just not doing other projects that we were going to look at, like the dog park that we were on that building. So, it's not like we don't have the majority of the money somewhere, we're just pivoting from one capital improvement project to.
And what we can do, we can have Jason write up an ordinance for next month. And then we can have time to research it and go from there. If you want a motion I'll entertain a motion for Jason to create an ordinance to, move forward with the Ford Slash thing, and then we'll vote next month. Then we have time to research and go from there.
I think that's the appropriate move, that's all of it being put in the ground,
I'm sorry, sir?
all that fiber put in the ground, no on poles, no aerial on Ameren or anything.
No, actually, we worked with Danny and his team to kind of decide what the route we were gonna take, because there's some utilities back in there that we wanted to kind of stay away from, and some walls and things like that. So it was, I think we came up with a pretty good plan of getting down to the end of Lincoln, if you will.
Well, Monty, do you have an issue coming back next, if we wanna do that, have Jason do you make that motion?
I guess the park, the board, they're good with spending all that money? That's kind of.
Well, there's like 30 left of theirs, and then I'm taking other money that was set aside. So, I guess, they've already put cameras in the park now, that's where we ended up. So we're taking other capital improvement money that we had set aside for different projects, and we put towards security and all, and Wi-Fi in the parks. Because we'll get too late in the year for anything else to take on.
And I guess the school does the football field in the school, in the grade school.
Yeah.
Well, I would be remiss to not say something, Mr. Mayor, is that we talked, the mayor and I talked about just getting fiber down to the park and what that could look like. And part of that is even if we took fiber and we ran through the high school or through the schools. We can actually supply those schools and different areas with internet. Now what you're doing is you're raising money and you're making money for the city, and that is perfectly legal. We can do that. And it's what a lot of municipalities are doing across the country. They're putting in their own private networks and their own private fiber to people's residences. And they're just pulling that off, just like the manhole in your front yard. And so we can put that in and give you internet access, and now the bill that you pay to it's just a utility, just like you're paying with water. You have your own private water, we can have our own private network and our private own internet access as well. So that is happening. So if we did that, we would strategically place that fiber so that we could bypass a lot of areas to try to get revenue for, or obtain revenue for the organization, for the city at that point.
Thank you, sir.
Good. All right, thank you.
All right, so,
Well, if everybody's okay with voting for it, I'll motion to go ahead with it.
I'll second.
so you're making a motion to have Jason bring an ordinance next month?
Or just go ahead and approve it.
Or are you approving everything? What are you making a motion for?
What you said before, that I can't remember what you said.
I entertained a motion for Jason to create an ordinance for next month. That's,
And that's what I was seconding.
Yeah, I'll do
okay, all right. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Monty. I don't know where you went. All right. All right, moving on. Let me find out where we are. I believe we are at ordinances and resolutions. All right. I'll entertain a motion to read Bill 1995-2025 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the first reading of Bill 1995-2025 by title only, please?
Bill number 1995-2025 on its first reading by title only, an ordinance of the city of Missouri authorizing the mayor, Mike Oster, to enter into a contract with Cochrane Engineering for $12,000 to prepare and assist the city with all required documentation to develop a municipal park site master plan.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve Bill 1995-2025 on this first reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to accept Bill 1995-2025 on its first reading by title only. Any discussion?
What does that actually mean?
All right, so their master plan is, the park is going to, I met with Cochrane about writing a grant for the tennis courts, pickleball courts, just coming up with a grant policy, the same exact thing that we do with the sidewalks. Like, hey, are you guys interested in filling out this grant? Because I was at a park board meeting, they printed out the grant packet, and it's very, very in-depth. So I called, the one I was looking at was through DNR, it's the Missouri Park one, and it's very difficult to get. I believe when I talked to the lady, she was very receptive on the phone, but I think there was like 26 applicants and she approved 6. It's a hard grant to get. Cochrane does those difficult grants for our sidewalks. So I just reached out to their engineer and he goes, yeah, that's what I do. So with meeting with him, he was like, well, on these grants, it's a point-based system. You need to get as many points as you can. Where's your master plan? And I'm like, we don't have a master plan on that. He goes, well, in order to apply for some of these grants, it's a good idea to have a master plan anyway. He goes, I can create a master plan for you guys. And that's in your packet. I mean, it's the first one where you got, you meet with the park department, you meet with the park board, you meet with the residents, they hold open houses and everything. So it is just a master plan of the park and what the citizens are wanting to develop out in the park, and go from there. So that will be a $12,000 expense to have that plan, and then that will benefit us towards getting the grants on the next 2 ordinances. So
Thank you.
that's, in a nutshell, that's.
That was my question, do we have a current master plan?
No,
Not a current master plan?
we do not have a current engineered master plan. We have, Mr. Henson's in the audience, I asked him to be here. we do have, he has a list of stuff, and it's extensive. And then they're basically gonna meet with the park board and then just put it together and just get it prioritize, and, his main thing was like a maintenance schedule, like have an actual maintenance schedule, 'cause right now, and, the maintenance of like the pool, like, hey, we need to have that painted every 7 years and stuff, and to my knowledge, there's not an actual maintenance plan of that put in place. Jimmy's done very well the last few years as president, trying to get all this put together, and, so this is just one of those steps to help him out, and these funds for this will be coming from that 80 fund, which Jason's already budgeted for, so. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. I already had a motion and a second. That was discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Make a motion to read bill 1995-2025 on second and final reading.
Second,
Final.
sorry. Second.
Fast, I like it. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the second and final reading of Bill 1995-2025 by title only, please?
Bill number 1995-2025 on second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the city of Missouri authorizing the mayor, Mike Osher, to enter into a contract with Conference Engineering for $12,000 to prepare and assist the city with all required documentation to develop a municipal park site master plan.
Make a motion to set bill 1995-2025 on second and final reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve Bill 1995-2025 on its second and final reading by title only. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll go ahead and poll the council. Councilperson Bradley?
Yes.
Councilperson Kemfer?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever? Councilperson Friedmeier?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Bailey?
Yes.
Councilperson Winkleman?
Yes.
Alrighty. Bill number 1995-2025 now becomes ordinance 1995-2025. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Thank you, ma'am. Before I'll entertain this motion, these next two ordinances are entering into an agreement with Cochrane for $5,000. One's for a USTA grant, another one is for the LWCF grant. Both are for several $100,000 grants. The USDA grant is about $200,000. The other one is up of $500,000 funds matching grant. So these next two things are, we pay $5,000 for them to write the grant. If we awarded the grant, we owe them $5,000. If we are not awarded the grant, it's nothing off of us. So
Okay.
that's
Do tennis courts need redone?
in a bad way. Mhm.
I know time gets away, but I thought we like just did that.
We did that about, Mr. Henson?
Well, we did, there's different ways you can redo the tennis courts. You can just do a cursory, scrape off the top, fill in the holes or cracks, and then put a new surface over the top of it. And then there's a complete one where they grind it down about an inch and then fill it all back up and put everything new. Each one will last you, the cursory is probably 3 or 4 years if you stretch it out. The next one's probably 5 or 6 years, and we're at a point where we really need to replace the whole thing. At least that's what we're told. It's gonna be about $104,000 to just do a repair on it next time we do it, and it needs to be done within the next 2 years.
We had a pickleball, thing on there, I guess it was Saturday or something, and, there was quite a bit of people there, and the courts are in pretty bad shape, but,
I just remember seeing them.
yeah, we did, yeah, when we repainted them and stuff. I think that was like 2020, yeah, something like that. Alright, well, that's just a little backstory there, so I'll entertain a motion to read Bill 1996-2025 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Alright, I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the first reading of Bill 1996-2025 by title only, please?
Bill number 1996-2025 on second
accept bill 1996-2025 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to accept Bill 1996-2025 on its first reading by title only. Any discussion?
I just want a question or clarification.
Yes, sir.
It just doesn't make sense that if we don't get the grant, we don't pay Cochran anything for the work they do. It's like not paying for your lottery ticket until you know it's a winner.
Yeah, they're pretty confident in it. There's,
That's what we do with all the grants.
that's,
And then if we get the grant, there's a contract with Cochran for that.
Okay.
that's your,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like buying a lottery ticket, but not having to pay for it till you do.
Yeah, and the one grant is very extensive to fill out. It's a bear. So, yeah, no, it's a good deal, and I asked them about it. And that's the thing with the sidewalks. We do the same thing with the sidewalks, and they're good with it. All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Make a motion to read bill 1996-2025 on its second and final reading by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the second and final reading of Bill 1996-2025 by title only, please?
Bill number 1996-2025 on its second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Mike Oster, to enter into a contract with Cochran Engineering for $5,000 to prepare and assist the city with all required documentation associated with submitting a United States Tennis Association grant application for the redevelopment of the existing tennis courts located within the municipal park located at 1400 Christopher Drive, Crystal City, Missouri.
Thank you.
Make a motion to accept bill 1996-2025 on its second and final reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve Bill 1996-2025 on its second and final reading by title only. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll poll the council. Councilperson Bradley?
Yes.
Councilperson Kemfer?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginevra?
Yes.
Councilperson Friedmeier?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Bailey?
Yes.
Councilperson Winkleman?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Bill number 1996-2025 now becomes ordinance 1996-2025. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Thank you, ma'am. All right, I'll entertain a motion to read Bill 1997-2025 on its first reading by title only.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the first reading of Bill 1997-2025 by title only, please?
Make a motion to accept bill 1997-2025 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to accept Bill 1997-2025 on its first reading by title only. Any discussion?
Yeah, why is this one any different than the other?
This one's a different grant.
I get that, but
This is for land, yep.
This one includes basketball courts.
This one is a larger, so the USTA will only provide for tennis courts. This one will, do, when I spoke to him, we talked about having a tennis complex down there, having tennis courts, pickleball courts, and they might, get into those basketball courts, we might have to move the basketball court, move one off to the side, or since we have two new ones at Hickey White,
excuse my ignorance, is a pickleball court any different than a tennis court?
Yeah,
No, I didn't.
that's a little off. It's all right. They're smaller. It's for old people like us to play. Tennis is hard. It's pickleball's right up your alley. Yeah. So, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Make a motion to read bill 1997-2025
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the second and final reading of Bill 1997-2025 by title only, please? Thank you.
Make a motion to accept Bill 1997-2025 on the second and final reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve Bill 1997-2025 on its second and final reading by title only. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll poll the council. Councilperson Bradley?
Yes.
Councilperson Kempfer?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever?
Yes.
Councilperson Friedmeier?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Bailey?
Yes.
Councilperson Winkleman?
Yes.
Alrighty. Bill number 1997-2025 now becomes ordinance 1997-2025. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Alrighty.
Make a motion to read Bill 1998-2025 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have the first reading of Bill 1998-2025 by title only, please?
Make a motion to accept Bill 1998-2025 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to accept Bill 1998-2025 on its first reading by title only. Any discussion?
Can we revisit this a little bit?
We absolutely can.
I don't remember when we discussed this, so,
His last meeting.
oh, that's why I don't remember.
That's all right. No, that's a good reason to discuss.
But, so the whole reason for this is because it's getting too expensive to dispose of the bulk stuff?
The bulk is high, but I mean, it's just so many people are taking advantage of it as well. So we're having pickups of, Mr. Turner, we have,
Anywhere from 70 to 100 stops every other Friday. I mean,
Really?
and it's the same,
we used to have 40 to 50, and then COVID, it jumped to 60, and then it's to 70, we hover around 80. This time of year, 90 on a bulk day.
So taking advantage of, you're saying they are not utilizing this, or not so much, but they are taking advantage
Two or three
of.
times a year, or it could just be coming from out of town, your brother might live in town, and you wanna get rid of a sofa, you can take it to your brother's house.
right,
Is
Yeah.
the dump still open all day?
Down here.
Yeah.
yard waste.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So you open it in the morning and lock it in the evening?
Yeah, Ricky goes,
So,
he makes his round,
People from across town just come bring their stuff over and dump
The
too?
yard waste,
Yeah, this isn't affecting yard waste, this is just bulk pickup. This is only for bulk pickup of, if you need a mattress taken out, it's a $5 charge instead of, and what we run into is, the same house, like Mr. Turner alluded to, is it's multiple times a year. Not saying that no one doesn't have like 5 mattresses, but it gets an issue, and it's the same.
Houses have 5x5 piles multiple times a year, it's like, okay, where's this bulk?
And our bulk fee, our bulk fee, the $5 will assist on the dumping fee. I mean, we just had a $44,000 bill on our sheet there. No, it's not made, I mean, it's still a reasonable, it's worth $5 to get rid of a dresser. I mean, that's still a great deal to our citizens.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make money, like a tremendous amount off of this. We're just trying to make it to where we're not taking advantage of. I mean, I had somebody text me and say, hey, can I just drop this off at your house? I'm like, absolutely not.
It's kind of like the dump. People know that we have bulk, people know we have a dump, and they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's $8,000 for a camera, but we run people out of that dump on a daily basis.
Yeah.
From other,
Yes, I always see a lot of trees.
Somebody we can hold them accountable.
Right, so it's the same thing with bulk, they're starting to bring over,
couches.
you got a garage sale, you sell their stuff, I'll take it for
Is it impossible to keep the same offenders from using our services over and over?
We
I mean, like, maybe put a cap on how many times a month or a year you can
We did not
use it or
put a
something?
cap on it. And I mean, we can,
Cause I want somebody to pick up some stuff this Friday. They're gonna pay $5.
Right.
I've only used it like 3 times in 20 years.
ooh, should've used it should've been at that meeting last month. You save $5.
If you all implement this, we can get some, a month or two before it's implemented, we can post some stuff on Facebook. Mayor can put it in his newsletter, we'll put it on the water bills, we can make it effective September or
Yeah.
January of 26, something like that. I think it's just really, I wasn't here for the 2 meetings that was talked about, but I think, I see it, Mr. Turner talks about it all the time. We are getting taken advantage of.
Right.
Are they putting it out 2 weeks ahead of time too? It sits there for,
No, not really, because it's every other week, so we're pretty quick, but in the alleyways, you'll notice if it's, if we don't have a third Friday, that following second Friday on the bulk, those alleys will start filling up. Just, I don't get it, it's a minimum of $100 to take it somewhere, so I do see why, if I can just pitch it in the alley and save myself $100, it happens.
I'm just worried $5 ain't enough to deter people.
Why, it should be 10.
Yeah, you can't get
I think
cheeseburger for $5. Yeah.
If you guys would like to amend that to $10, I don't have an issue with that. It was more of a, like, it's just kind of a deterrent, but it was also a, like, if it's not, cause we have some little housekeeping stuff with this, at least they'll have to add it onto their water bill, and then any stop that is not on our list does not get picked up, and then that's when Matt will have to run through and cite it for having trash in their yard and stuff, and, so there's gonna be some growing pains with this, just at $5. At 10, I have no issues with 10. It's still worth 10. I used it for the first time 2 months ago. I drove some chairs. I mean, it's pretty convenient. You just drop all this stuff off at the curb and it's handled. I mean, it's an excellent service, but,
Can't do it once a year.
yeah. Well, I mean, if we wanna keep it like this, so I mean, do you wanna change it to a $10?
Is there any question, will there be any question from residents regarding, we have a tax for trash pickup, isn't there something?
We pay sales tax and then we pay a recycling fee. We do not have a fee for bulk pickup.
But if they're saying, look, we're already charging this tax, and now you're gonna charge us $500 for picking it up. But I'm in favor of that, and I thought 5 was a good number, I don't think 10 is a bad number. And to go from 0 to 5 and we check it out, think about it, see how it's going, are people still offending it? Are these same people still saying, $5, yeah, I'll pay you $5?
It's still a good,
Can we amend this in, say, 3 months?
we absolutely can.
Let the $5 go right now, Daniel come back down the road and say, yeah, not working, you know?
We absolutely can. Mr. Cherry?
One thing I want to be mindful of, make it too hard on the citizens, that's up to you. But I don't want to fill it like dumpsters that I'm paying for, and that happens frequently.
Absolutely.
People are already doing it, sticking it in there because they do it for free. It's right behind the bank, so you wouldn't think people do it, but they do. And, you make it too difficult. You don't want to have the service, I get it. But if you make it too difficult, I won't be paying a heck of a lot for dumping.
Well, I don't wanna make it difficult, cause I don't want the trash building up. And I just,
I like having a clean city.
I absolutely do. And, but I also don't wanna be taken advantage of and have our guys getting 90 stops. And it's generally not that we're making an ordinance for the same 4 people that are abusing it, but it's still, it's a good service and the $5, we just talked about it last council, and it was like, yeah, $5 is fine. I mean, that won't even cover the cost of dumping that day.
And each house is about $13 per pickup that we do on our normal residential pickup. It's kind of a cost breakdown of what, if we were a service, what it would cost you. You get waste managers, and it's $22 to $25 per household.
Right. Pat?
We're not in this to compete with waste.
No, I'm just saying, but we're still keeping it.
People are gonna, if they're gonna abuse it, then you just don't pick it up at their house after 2 or 3 times and decide.
And that's the thing is that's the whole housekeeping thing that we have. Like, there's gonna be, with this on the list, because how it is now, if they don't call in, they don't get picked up, but then our trash guys will probably pick it up when they're doing their route anyway. This will be more of a, hey, here's our list, this is how it has to be, and we go from there.
I would definitely be willing, or I would definitely recommend you, what you're saying, have to do so many times you're gonna do it. Cause, these people do it this many times, they need to hire a roll-off dumpster.
Oh, yeah. No,
Is
Cool.
is it now to where they have to call in to?
yeah. Yeah, we're doing nothing except adding $5 to, the whole
We
thing
know
is,
we know the name that's calling in every time, every other week to do it, 'cause it's like, yeah, is there 5 of them, and that's
yeah, we can stick a number on here. We can stick a maximum of 4 per year if you like, 1 a quarter. But then it goes harder on keeping up with our,
Data collection.
yeah.
to implement that is more difficult than,
Yes.
And plus, it's a nice benefit for the residents. So I like the $5, let's see how it works. If $5 doesn't help, and I don't think limiting it is gonna be.
limiting it will be difficult.
Let's take it as it is and go with it.
All right,
There's a list right now, though, of everybody that gets it done.
that's correct.
And you're saying there's certain people on there like every other week?
Probably at least
I would say every other month or so.
every other month there's,
I can name, I'm not gonna name addresses, but I know 6 of them off the top of my head that I know are gonna be on there before September.
I guess the guys picking up, do they report back to you, what are they picking up? Are they just?
But whenever you call in, you'll tell us what's on the list most times, but, I mean, yeah.
yeah, I get a document every Friday. It's like front and back, size 10 font. It's a bunch. It's, so,
I think we had up to 115 back in May or April, something like that.
But to you, does it look like they're just getting their house out, or they bringing it from out of
It can
town?
be anywhere from construction materials to a toilet, I mean, or a garden hose. I mean,
Yeah.
people put anything and everything out for bulk.
right. All right, well, Ms. Friedmeier, you have one thing to add?
I was just gonna say, Danny's exactly right on that bulk and the treatments. If you guys look at Facebook at all, Jeffco 411, I get in arguments with 20 people a month on there about, hey, take your stuff to Crystal City, it's all free. I'm like, not for you, it's not. You know, that's our benefit, we live here. Not for Festus, not for Herky, not for Peebly. You guys deal with your own trash, but it is a nice benefit for us, but, I mean, you can get on Facebook and see that all the time. I see it on limbs, leaf pickup, oh, take it down to the dump. I'm like, you don't live in Crystal. I bet in the last 6 months, at least 2 or 3 a month, I've blocked them in at the dump and called the police. I'm like, I know you guys don't live here. You're dumping it out in our street. I block them, I'll hold it.
Yeah, you can stop me.
I watched these dump trucks go by, I
Jeff-
didn't know who it was, I went down there, and I'm like, never mind.
Jeff lives here.
But I didn't recognize the trucks, but
Right.
they go down there, they rip the gates off. I had one guy, I seen him rip the gate off into the Crystal Underground. I tried to stop him, he outran me. I couldn't get him.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things.
Dump it everywhere.
Right. That was a discussion, that's all. Any further questions?
I got something else, so, I looked on the website and, it says the second and fourth Friday of every month.
Yes.
This says the second, fourth, and fifth,
If there's a 5th Friday.
if there's the fifth, but that's not on the website, so we're gonna change that?
I'm not in charge of the website.
And then,
We can modify the website, because it's the second, fourth, and if there is a fifth, it's
Right,
always,
okay.
it's not yard waste, it's always.
and then there's another section where it says, click this link for trash details, and it gets a 404, there's no such page. It's on two separate pages, but, so the messaging isn't clear, we need to fix
Jason
that
King, check the
too.
website.
I just wanna make sure that this was correct
Yep.
before we pass it.
No, the ordinance is.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
It said, the ordinance says a fee will be charged for each bulk pickup. So you're gonna get charged only if they pick it up. I've done this a few times when I had bulk pickup, called and said, yeah, I'll put it out Thursday night, and then it's Friday afternoon before I remember I didn't put it out Thursday night. Am I gonna get charged, and if I am, you get charged for getting on the list, not for getting the
It-
pickup.
Well, we're gonna have the guys mark the list.
Okay, the list will get
They're gonna
marked.
they have a list.
And
They're gonna really
I
have
should
to
get paid
track.
for not remembering.
Well, I mean, if you, we normally will come back, if you forget to send out, we normally do come back.
Yeah, you're not losing your personal service with any of this, it's more of a, yeah. All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Second. We're on to second.
Make a motion to read Bill 1998-2025 on a second and final reading by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, can I have a second and final reading of Bill 1998-2025 by title only, please?
Bill number 1998-2025 on second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the city of Crystal City, Missouri, establishing the both ISPs and switching the rules for both pickups under chapter 38, article 2, division 1, and adding section 38-35 of both pickups to the code of ordinances of the city of Crystal City.
Make a motion to set Bill 1998-2025 on a second and final reading by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve Bill 1998-2025 on a second and final reading by title only. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I will poll the council. Councilperson Bradley?
Yes.
Councilperson Kemfer? Councilperson Ginever? Councilperson Freemeyer?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Bailey?
Yes.
Councilperson Winkleman?
Yes.
All right, bill number 1998-2025 now becomes ordinance 1998-2025. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? All righty. Moving on to City Administrator's report. Jason has a bunch of paper on this one. If you guys have a moment to read through that, if you have any questions for Jason.
So the Quatsy Senior Center, is it already operating at the summit yet, or will not until after we have the grand opening?
They're opening Monday, I believe. They're moving this week.
Okay.
So they were up there today, and, they're moving furniture, moving out of that place.
Yeah, that's him. I know you did. All right. Moving on, if we don't have any questions, Mayor's report. I got a couple of board appointments. Curtis Bensbacher to Board of Zoning and Appeals, and then Laura DeClue to the Park Board. If you guys have any questions about those two. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those board appointments.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak about anything tonight? Alrighty. Moving on, I want to commend our Public Works Department. We got a lot of stuff going on right now, and we ask a lot of those guys, tying up loose ends with Hickey White Park. Everyone in this city's really came together, all of our employees. Just a couple of examples. Darren, our mechanic, Eddie, our sergeant detective, Curtis, Ramey, most of our public work guys have had their hands dirty at Hickey White Park trying to get this done. And, basically, it just reflects on what good employees we have, and, it's our leadership down. We have a really good team. I'm proud of those guys, and it makes me proud to be part of that winning team, because we really do. And Jason alluded to that on his stuff, but, we got a lot of good guys. So, that's pretty much what I have on that. The Hickey White Park dedication ceremony and National Night Out is on August 5th at 5:30. That's this Tuesday coming up. Love to see some of you guys out there. I think there's games, the fire truck will be there, the police officers are all there cooking for us. Dunking booth? And Jason will be in it. You were there. No, so, it's gonna be a good, just community event. It's a good every year. Just this year will be the first one at Hickey White Park. So it's just, it'll be a nice time. So please come out and enjoy our new facility. The sidewalks have started on Taylor. That's gonna be a great addition to our community as well. So
Needed that for a long time.
it's been in the works for a while, so.
Concrete was put in, I think, in 41 or 42.
It's been a while, but, I mean, it's just the progress that we'll just keep moving and keep moving ahead, so that's pretty much all I have. Roundtable, Councilperson Bradley? All righty. Councilperson Kemfer?
The only thing is there's a planning and zoning meeting Thursday, August 7th at 6:30.
Yes, sir. All right. Mr. Geneva?
Aren't you gonna ask me if I got anything to say?
I just assume, buddy. I just assume.
That's probably a good thing. I was asked about activity on England Avenue. It looks like things are happening, and this is the first time I saw in Mr. Sullivan's report that there's gonna be 3 new homes on England Avenue. Does anybody know anything about that?
I believe they have a BOZA meeting, coming up, and that's on the list.
Do you have the documentation for that?
I do not either.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that when you get it. I mean, I can drop by
Mr. Sullivan will have that. Does he come
By
back
the
tomorrow?
office.
Oh, it's all week long.
but Diane's probably got it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Diane will have it.
Okay, I'll get it from them then. That's all.
Well, that was easy. We're good. Mr. Friedmeier?
Jason, Ole Ollie water line, what's the status of that?
Mr. Mounier is supposed to be getting us an opinion.
Okay.
Because everything that we have found indicates that we did not put it in, it was put in by the subdivision developer at this time. So he owed me some research, he was here Thursday, we were busy, tied up all day on the Marty stuff, but he still owes me a letter of situation with Ole Ollie.
With his recommendation.
He's going to give you the history, or what he can find, he's doing a title search to see if there's anything that we own up there. Because currently, we don't own it, it doesn't even show up on the map, so it's a private road. So.
I know they've been saying
Put
that.
it way before us.
I know they've been saying that for years. It just seems like they are citizens, and I know we have the same issue with Pruno Drive being a private road. But we had an opportunity on Pruno Drive when Gerard built the subdivision back in 2000, that Gerard was gonna put a concrete street up through Pruno Drive. And the Prunos at the time said, no way, they didn't want it. And I know we probably could have done eminent domain at that time because they have the same issue. They have a little 1-inch water line or whatever running down there. And Gerard was gonna put in a brand new concrete street, new water mains, everything, and it got shot down because the Prunos didn't want it. I guess without getting into legal issues. But I think Ole Ollie, I know, I've talked to a few citizens up there that when they buy property up there, the realtors don't really tell them anything, and they think they're part of the city, and they should have the same accommodations like a nice water main instead of just a bunch of 1-inch lines with whatever's run down through there and the street. But I understand what's going on, but
We're gonna wait for his, because Mr. Kemfer and I came about this about the same time, and we've been dealing with this Ole Ollie for a while. We're gonna wait and see what, our legal guy says, and then he's gonna present the information, then I'm gonna present my opinion on the matter, and then, we're gonna make a decision as a council on Ole Ollie, and, hopefully it lines up with Brandon.
Are they on city water now?
Absolutely.
they're on it, but they just.
They have meters. They have meters and they have a small line running through. And there's just it's the record keeping issue of it. Like, on GIS maps, it shows that it's our road. On every documentation that we have, Jason actually made the motion to accept it as our road, but then it was never put through as an ordinance. So there's a bunch of back stuff, and we've been working on it for, honestly, like 3 years of just back and forth. So Brandon's weeding through this, and then it'll be probably this year we're gonna have to make a decision.
We have the same situation on Old Orchard.
Old Orchard. And where? Well, yeah, during this research,
We just found out we don't own County Drive either.
right across from
Yeah.
Ole Alley, for this research, we found out that, hey, this road that we've always been doing stuff on, we actually don't own this one. So there's just it's just housekeeping that we need to, as a council, say, hey, this is the direction we're doing moving forward.
And there's.
Should we,
At the end of the road too?
At Ole Alley? Yeah.
So there's a,
there's a lift station at the dead end of that, but there's no, like, there's not a fire hydrant down at the end of that.
No.
I mean, I still think it's a part of the city's responsibility,
I agree.
that even if we don't own the road, we still couldn't put in a new water main and a hydrant at the end just for fire protection for them?
And that's where we're at on that.
So
We're,
we need to get with Brandon.
Legally or not, that's the right thing to do.
Right,
I agree with you, I'm just waiting on legal advice real quick, and from,
okay.
once Brandon tells us yay or nay, then we knowingly go this way or that way, and that's where we're at on it. And,
Orchards is worded different, but it says to everyone who uses the road, is what the statement in the legal description talks about Orchard Lane. And it's funny that you go up so far and it's perfect, and down on the back end it's perfect, and then the four houses is what's destroyed. But in their ordinance or their recorded document, it talks about whoever uses the road. And it's like, well,
we're in talks with,
we pick up trash there. There's water there too, correct?
and that's another issue with theirs, is it's just,
I mean, just like
What size
where
is
they
that?
put everything in, they made sure it was up to specs, and we took it over properly, but everything done.
it's just some housekeeping.
We're not the only other town. I talked with Todd in DeSoto a while back during one of those golf things. They have like 9 streets in DeSoto that are privately owned. They're slowly working their way through. It's just not something you jump into.
Right. Well, like I said, we're gonna look at we're waiting on Brandon's decision, his opinion. The council's the one who makes that decision. Whether his opinion says this, you guys are the ones that make that decision to move our town forward, so.
Annex it in or what?
It's already annexed
It's
in.
already in it.
No, there would be there's a lot to this, because our current road width, I think is 28 or 30 feet, that would be right up to some people's front door.
Well, let's focus on the water first, and then,
That's part of the water, you do the water lines, and you do the road, and all that, and so that was typically the way subdivisions are done, the infrastructure is put in by the developer, we take it over. So it was, I wasn't around back when that happened.
no, none of us were, so.
So, but we did find the same thing on Old Orchard, private water line broke, we fixed it, so now, and we've been talking to the Catholic Church for a year and a half.
Oh, yeah, at least.
And so I told Brandon, I'll take it, I don't care, just figure out who I gotta get the easement from and where it goes, I don't care. You know?
So we are working on that, and that's just one of the things, and that was on Brandon's list on Thursday, but the Hardy stuff, that took all day. I mean, it's just swamping. Jason's consistently busy with Hardy. I know I get asked several questions like, hey, how's Hardy? It's, the infrastructure's going in. If you guys wanna see some land that is absolutely moving in the right direction, drive out Airport Road and see, VFW, it's looking completely different, and,
So that's moving forward pretty good.
absolutely, so.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fisher.
I live on Taylor Avenue, and the sidewalks and the work they're doing looks great.
I met with them this morning. We're gonna do like an 8-foot drainage thing on your side, but they're gonna go all the way up Taylor and then come back down, so it might be 2 months or however long, so. We did talk about the
Those
water
sidewalks there were a lot of trees on Taylor Avenue for a long time. Those sidewalks were so broken up. As a kid, I thought it was fun riding bicycles. But those sidewalks have been broken up since I was a kid. Now, I'm not kidding, that's true. So, the sidewalks on Taylor needed to be repaired.
Yeah, it was a good grant, and Mr. Turner's doing a good job heading that up, so.
Yes, you are.
Chuck Kimes told me he was doing good.
Did he?
Yeah, I swear to you. I thought he was lying to me, but no, he really did. Mr. Bailey.
I express my appreciation to the city workers for all they've done, especially in the successive heat that we've had. They've really done well. And 4 water leaks were a fine example of that.
Thank you. I will pass that along.
And Mr. Winkler.
I wanna compliment the same group, but I'm gonna throw, what do they call it, sandwich
sandwich, we have good and bad on each side, so I called in a water leak in my front yard and got the answering machine, and it told me to dial 911, didn't give me any other options, and I haven't tried to call it again, at 4:32, told me, so I did what Jason said he does in his report, I called the mayor, I called, texted Jason, day and night, I get great responses from everybody from the city. The next day, the crew was up, actually that night, Dave Perry came up, took a look at it, they spray painted all around it, it was a small enough leak that they didn't do it right away. But the next morning, those guys were waist deep in mud, covered with mud, and on a hot day, it was not quite like today, but it was a terrible day to be hand digging around a little piece of copper pipe that was leaking, so they just did really solid work, and the whole time, you can watch from the front window, see what's going on, they worked the entire time, and down in the hole, hand digging around pipes, so, great work on that, supply line to my house. And the other thing that I have is about the comments about weed control. I know Mr. Brett in the middle of chuckle about it when he came in, clearing his weeds on his curbs. There was a post and got some comments about it. One of the comments that I got about it was, that make sure the city is keeping its property clean and nice before they go telling other people to clean it nice. And it was referring specifically to the fences along Hugs Landing Road. They have since been mowed, since been cleared up, but that weeds on Hugs Landing was basically arching across the road, not arching, overstating it, but.
I didn't never see that, Archie, I run down there most nights,
The one side of the road, that Johnson grass grows up and.
It really does.
And it hangs over, and if two cars are passing, and you got.
You're correct on that.
Grass hitting your.
That Johnson grass does grow up there, you're correct on that.
That was a complaint.
That's,
Wasn't anybody in my house, but,
hey, that's better than we got on Facebook. Yeah.
a lot of comments on that, weedy curves,
I wonder who posted that? Yeah. All right, hey, that's all right. Okay. Thank you guys for your time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Lead reclamation. We got a letter about 6 months ago.